Welcome back. Today we're going to explore a simple yet transformative habit, gratitude. It's something we hear a lot about. We know it's important, but I don't think we all know how just important it is. And I'm going to share some of Sorena's thoughts on the topic of gratitude, and you'll be stunned at how impactful it is. But believe it or not, our brains are wired to focus on threats rather than blessings, which can sometimes make life feel overwhelming. We'll talk more about why that is. But with gratitude, we can shift our perspective, find resilience, and even pave the way for success. So in this video, we're going to look at why gratitude is more than just a feel-good thing. It's a mindset that can shape how you approach your goals, relationships, and your daily challenges. So let's dive in and discover how to make gratitude a part of our daily lives.
Welcome to the channel. On the channel, we do mindset and zero challenges. Have you wondered why some people and some can't get out already? Chris gives them really funny quick in this video. Take a look, Chris.
Understanding the brain's negativity bias. We are all negatively biased as human beings. The brains focus on threats rather than the good stuff. Now, why is that? It's because we still have our primitive brains. So our brains were designed and our nervous systems were designed way back when to get food or avoid being food, right? So we have those reactions, and our lives as a protective mechanism, our brains just assume something's negative. Think about the time you get the late night phone call, you assume something's bad. Or when somebody said, hey, we need to talk, you assume it's bad, right? But that's not you, it's not your fault, it's just the way we're wired. But think of how that can negatively impact our daily lives. When we're just wired and we assume everything's going to be negative. We're on edge, we're not relaxed. It's easy to lose motivation, inspiration, and confidence when we're wired that way. But when you work on gratitude, it can help counterbalance this by reorienting the focus and shifting and almost rewiring yourself to assume a more positive outlook. The role of gratitude in setting and achieving goals. Challenges come, right? Anytime you've got an ambitious goal, there's going to be challenges, things that get in your way. Now, knowing that we're biased to negativity, you can see where that reaction could instantaneously be negative and inherently be negative just subconsciously, and how that would prevent us from achieving goals. So that's where gratitude comes in. When we use gratitude as a tool to improve our outlook, to counteract that negative bias that's just inherent in all of us, it helps us stay on track with achieving goals. So that's why it's so important to work on that. So we want to find out and figure out how to put practical ways to incorporate gratitude into our goal setting, right? We want to make that a part of it so that we have that positivity. Gratitude as a tool for personal growth and success. Gratitude can help promote resilience and persistence. Now, that's a pretty simple thing when you really think about it, right? When we're implementing practices of gratitude, which we'll talk more practically how you do that, it does create a more positive outlook. It helps eliminate that negativity bias that we have in our brains, right? And that's going to help us grow as individuals and be more successful, right? It's going to make us more resilient, right? Because when something hits us and we react in a negative way and it's woe is me, oh no, this is terrible, it's a threat, those kind of things hold you back and they make you less resilient. And that keeps you from persisting, right, on our path to accomplish our goals. So again, we need to, as part of this rewiring, view challenges as growth opportunities instead of setbacks, right? And that's part of that rewiring. Be grateful for a challenge, right? You know, this kind of stinks, but the fact that it happened allows me to grow and become stronger, resilient, persistent, and achieve our goals. Think about that with Sorena's disability, right? He hates it and he wish he didn't have it, right? And he could be negative and down about it all the time. But you know what? He's like, although I hate it and wish I didn't have it, I'm going to use it as a learning opportunity, right? What can I do? What am I capable of? How do I deal with this challenge in order to still do the amazing things that I want to do? Like create courses and videos and education like this, coach people, speak on stages, all of those. So he used that as an opportunity to grow, develop, and deal with those challenges to, again, become more resilient and persistent. But again, realizing and leveraging personal strengths and resources is going to help us deal with that negative balance it helps us as we use that in conjunction with gratitude to have a more positive outlook and stay on track. Leveraging your network through a gratitude mindset. We have to always be grateful for our support network and the people around us, right? We are social creatures. You've heard Sourena a million times talk about the importance of a network and having the right people and supporting each other in win-win relationships. With all of that, you've got to have the gratitude with that too. Gratitude is contagious. You create a culture of gratitude in that network, and now everybody's less negative. Everybody can fight that inherent feeling to simply react negatively to things, right? And we elevate everybody around us. That creates a real win-win in those circles and allows us to feel and be more strong and more confident. It helps us deal with those feelings of isolation. When we're grateful for all the people around us, we realize that they're there. It allows us to take it in more and be more present with that. And again, it helps us fight that those feelings of isolation, which lead to more negative feelings. But when you're grateful and you express gratitude and you understand gratitude and it becomes a part of who you are, you're going to improve your relationships and you're going to build stronger networks. Gratitude for physical and mental well-being. It's hard to be mentally strong and mentally fit with such an inherent feeling of negativity, right? And by the way, to illustrate that, if you were to be, let's say at work, whatever you do, you're at work one day, and let's say you have 10 new customers, 5 great sales calls, 3 great presentations, revenue is up, all these great things happen. And then at one point during the day, one person calls and says, I don't want to do business with you anymore. I don't like it. I don't need you. I don't think you're very good. And then after that, more great things happen. Then you go home at the end of the day and you talk to your spouse or your partner or your friend or your children or anybody, and they go, how was your day? What do you say? Oh, it was terrible. This one person complained. Now, in reality, 99% of that day was absolutely incredible. But because of that negativity bias, which again is a protective mechanism, it's a natural human thing, right? We've got to rewire to think more positively for our health, physical and mental well-being, right? So again, focusing on gratitude and exercises of being more aware of our gratitude and being intentional and conscientious of that gratitude are going to help us with our mental and physical well-being. And by the way, there are so many studies and there's a lot of data and research out there that shows people that are grateful, that express gratitude, that focus on it, that are optimistic, are physically healthier. They get sick less, they sleep better, they have more energy, and overall, they're just healthier people. So how do we do this? Well, you create different things you can do, like a daily gratitude journal that reinforces the positive, right? So again, if that person that I described before had all those positive things happen and one negative thing, it's easy for them to become negative even from that one thing. But when you actually write it down, it creates a realistic view of, wow, no. While there was one little hiccup, most of the day was great. And I'm grateful for that. And that's going to, again, positively affect your physical and mental well-being. Using gratitude to create lasting satisfaction and joy. And that's what we want, right? We want to be joyful and we want to feel satisfied. We want to accomplish goals. Well, by consciously focusing on gratitude, it allows us to do that, right? And part of gratitude too, especially when it comes to goal setting, and Sourena will tell you this all the time, is sometimes goals are way down the road. They're still awesome and they're worth having, but they're somewhere down here. And it takes a long time to get there. So it's hard to be grateful and optimistic and stay inspired and motivated when something's so far away. So part of gratitude is being grateful for all the small steps along the way, because all those small steps eventually get you to that goal. So it's important to celebrate those achievements, be grateful for those achievements. That keeps us fired up, keeps us motivation, and gives us a lot of wins along the way on that long journey to accomplishing our really big goals. But again, when you're grateful, you have a greater sense of fulfillment and happiness. And again, all the research and data shows it, right? So again, we want to encourage you all to make sure that you appreciate progress, right? One thing that Sourena and I always say to people is there are 2 keys to kind of being successful, and this ties right into gratitude. It's the appreciation of progress and being grateful for an increased sense of potential. Because every step, every little success you have along the way, if you say, man, I'm really grateful that this happened and I'm proud of myself, but because of that, now there's even more amazing things that I can do, right? So again, we want to make sure that we are conscious and we focus on being grateful and gratitude, because that's going to help us create lasting success and joy. Now, there's one more thing, just a very tangible exercise when it comes to gratitude. And this is something that Sourena and I have talked about, something I did with my children. At dinner every single night with my children, I would say, tell me 3 great things that happened today, 3 things you're grateful for. And when I first asked them, they were baffled and they struggled, even though they lived great lives, to figure out these great things that happened today. But once they knew that question was coming every single night, and this is a question you can ask yourself or do it as part of your journal, you start to then look for those things, right? You're more aware of the positive, more aware of the good things, because they knew they were going to be quizzed every single night. So challenge yourself to every single night at the end of the day, whether it's formally in a journal or you're just thinking about it or reflecting, to 3 things that you should be grateful for that happened today. Because again, at first it might be a struggle because we're wired to be negative. But once you make that a mindset, all of a sudden you're starting to rewire. And now you're out there seeing all the great things that happen and you just explode with gratefulness, right? So again, we want to make gratefulness a habit, right? Gratitude a habit, expressing that gratitude a habit. Again, like anything else, it's like confidence or other things. It's not just some people are and some people aren't. It's a skill, it's a habit. We just have to work at it through those exercises, through those journals, to rewire the inherent negative wiring that we have as human beings, again, as a protective mechanism. But we can deal with that by working on gratitude, right? So you want to start your own practice of gratitude. It's got so many benefits and it's such an essential component to your success. So again, you know what? In the comments, write something right now that you're grateful for and share that with us and share that with all the other viewers. If you enjoyed this video and you found it helpful, and I'm sure that you did, make sure you like it, share it, and most importantly, subscribe to this channel.